Great. Let's get started then. The first task will be converting an implementation of the priority queue data structure from Java to Python. And you will do this one without the AI support. Your second task will be converting an implementation of the try data structure from Java to Python as well. And you will do that one with the AI support. We will also take a break between the two tasks since the session will take about 2 hours. First, let me tell you a bit more about this code translation task. The task is to produce a complete and working Python translation within 30 minutes. By complete, I mean that all of the functionality and documentation from the Java code should be translated. And by working, I mean that the Python code should be tested for correctness. As I mentioned earlier, there is more work to do to accomplish an absolutely perfect translation that what can be done in 30 minutes. So really, I'm asking you to just do as much as you can in the time that you have. But there may be trade-offs in how you spend your time, such as whether you choose to translate all of the functionality first or to translate a portion of it while testing it, making sure that it works. How you navigate this trade-off is completely up to you. There are a few other things that I should mention about the task. First of all is you will be using an online version of VS Code in the study, which has a few minor differences from the desktop application. In general, all of the menu commands and keystrokes are available, and they just should work. But please do let me know if you encounter any difficulties.
Sure.
I won't be able to answer any technical questions about the code or what's it supposed to do, but I can tell you that the Java implementation is correct. Number 3, when you make the translation, please try to preserve the naming of class and method names, but we are less concerned with how you name the variables. Number 4 is you can also use this is regarding what your first question. You can also use whatever resources you feel would be helpful, such as searching the web or Stack Overflow or running any of the code, since we have installed Java and Python in the editor. Last one is that I will give you a 5-minute warning when time is almost up, so you know when to start wrapping up your work. Okay. We also ask that you, as you work on the tasks, you think out loud and tell us about what you're thinking and what you're doing. This really helps us understand how you approach the task and what you're thinking about as you do it. If you're quiet, I will remind you to keep thinking out loud. So do you have any questions before we get started?
No, I'm good.
Okay, great. Yes.
I'm sorry, but I might have questions while I'm working, though I understand that no technical questions out there, but then just in case.
You can ask questions, but I cannot answer any technical ones, right? Like regarding the code itself, I cannot answer. I mean, I can, I don't know which other question about the VS Code, about the setup, about, I don't know, some other stuff I can answer, but not about, oh, what is this doing about this, specifically about the code. Okay.
Understand that. Yep, sure.
Okay, first of all, then I will ask you to share your screen.
And which browser should I take, or any browser would work?
Which one do you normally use?
Firefox?
It's perfectly fine. Any browser you feel comfortable with should work.
And only browser sharing would be fine, or you want me to share the complete screen?
If you share the complete screen, it will be better, because if you go and search something on the web, we can also look at what you were sharing and that kind of things.
Yep, I'm there.
Great. Awesome. One other thing is you need to be connected to the VPN, because the server is in one of our 9-dot network servers.
I'll just check. I should be on. I am already connected.
Okay, awesome. Great. Okay. Let's start then. Let's start with task number one. I was reading if I think I answered, I covered all the bases. But again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Sure.
Okay, so the first task, as I told you, in this task, you will be translating the priority queue data structure from Java to Python. And you will do this one without the AI support. I'm going to share with you a link to the online editor in the chat. I'm pasting it right now.
Task one, shall I take it?
It's in the chat.
Yes.
Yeah, you can paste it there. You might get a warning using Firefox, but it's okay. You go to advanced and yeah, you know the drill. Awesome. It might take a bit to load. There we go. You have two files. The first one is the Java implementation. The other one is where you should put your Python translation.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Then the time starts now.
Sure. Okay. Trying to understand what the code is doing here. There it is. Oh shit. Oh. Oh. What? Hello?
Yes, I can see. I can hear you. I was going to say if you had any issues.
Yes, yes. I was disconnected for a while and the screen went black. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Return the next element to be returned here. Is the priority queue public boolean is empty, so we check it. Okay, public is to a section of the heap to maintain heap properties. File. Okay. Size left index t parameter index. There is the main function. So we can run this, right?
You could run this, yes, but there's no main method for you to run. This is just the data structure.
Okay.
what are you thinking about? You can.
Yes. What I'm trying to see is that because it doesn't have a main here. So, and this is just the data structure. I'm trying to see where should I actually start from. So I was trying to look to declare my initial heaps and arrays, but I'm getting confused here. So let's see. Okay. So just sorry. Code. Let's try them 0. Yeah, idea if you have anything to indent it, do it by
No, unfortunately, you need to do that. But if you select everything, I do Shift Tab, it should unindent everything.
okay.
If you select there. If you do Shift Tab, it should
Yes.
unindent. Yep.
Yeah, that works. So def size is left in this. Correct syntax. Here, see how it goes. So now if left index is less than the size, and heap dot get left index to 0, maximum index is equal to okay, and if maximum is not equal to index, expect how do you just need to do that.
Sorry, you got a little chop. What do you want to do? Want to indent
I
that?
want to write, yeah.
Yep, you just tap.
Yep, just okay. How much time are we left with? Is this about? Okay, and do you think the AI system will be able to help here? I mean, when I start that task.
Sorry?
The AI system, like the problems that I'm facing, right? I've not worked on collections for Python.
Okay.
How would it help someone like me, maybe? Zero left index one parent. Okay.
Tina, are you still there? Hello? Hello? Oh. Hello, hello? Hello?
Hi, Fernando. I'm so sorry.
Hey, hey,
I
no,
switched,
no worries.
I just switched my network.
Okay.
Still, it was the earlier one was disconnected, so it's trying to connect again.
Okay, you might want to just reload the window. That's fine.
Shall I reload?
Yes, yes, the code is saved, so you shouldn't lose anything you've written.
Oh, it's there now. Okay.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay, we can resume from here.
Okay. Now what I'm thinking is, why is this error coming? So if it is keyword, but if I change it, it's not accepting it. So it as it is. And so we have index group size return element. To that we
This is the 5 minutes warning.
Okay. The clustering society. Insert element.
That's it. That's time.
That could be black.
No problem. Leave this. You can definitely close this window now if you want.
Okay.
The code is saved automatically, so you don't need to worry.
Okay. Yeah. Shall I close it?
Yes, please close this window because I will send you another link afterwards, and this needs to be closed. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna copy a URL in the chat again, which is the questionnaire, like the survey that I mentioned before. You have to open it in the Firefox again, and if you can think out loud while answering the questions, like you were doing when you were coding, your participant ID it's P26.
26.
Yes. The condition would be no AI,
Okay.
and the data structure would be priority queue. Have to agree the privacy policy, and next.
Okay. How mentally demanding was the task? Well, it was mentally demanding because I have worked on data structures on Java, but not on Python as much. Probably in the end, I realized that array lists are normal lists. I was actually trying to look more of array lists and those particular keywords in Python. So I think if I had realized earlier that these were normal lists, I could have. If normal lists could have also helped me, I would have been less mentally challenging. But yeah, the thing I feel was that I was able to make all the functions there and very less errors out there. How hurried or rushed was the pace? It was high because I had to finish off in 30 minutes and I had to understand the data structure flow there and what all it is doing, and then finding what the heap is in Python. Okay, how successful were you in accomplish what you were asked to do? I'm not very sure. So I'll put a 10 here because I was not able to run. I know there was one error which I could not close within half an hour. But yeah, I think I'll give a 10 here. I'm not pretty sure there. How hard did you have to work to accomplish your level of performance? Okay, not much because my first intention was to transfer all the functions here, all the modules here, and bring the code to a level of Java and then execute data structure and see where all things are missing. So if I talk about myself, it was hard, of course, but it was not very hard to at least bring those functions to Python page. How insecure, discouraged, irritated, stressed, and annoyed were you? I was not. I was none of them. I was nervous. I'll just give maybe 3 here. So I was nervous for sure. Okay, please describe your overall approach for how you worked on this task and how you allocated your time across. So initial 5 minutes, I tried to read through the code, the Java code, and understand the flow. The next 5 minutes, I think, were like where to start from. And after that, I was mainly trying to translate the functions from Java to Python probably 5 minutes inclusive of a lot. Went in Google search as well to accomplish the above. Okay. To what extent do you feel you understand how Java implementation of the data structure works? Well, I do understand, not a great deal, but yeah, I somewhat do understand how data structures are working and what was this data structure, particular priority queue was doing. So yeah, why? Okay. Uh, so I what do I write here? So have worked on Java data structures as part of um, automation. Yeah. It was like long back, 4 to 5 years back. So
Okay.
yeah. And next, is there any other feedback you would like to share with us about your experience on this task? It was good. But if prior, I mean, if you would like to have the participant be knowledgeable about certain thing, I think that will help us perform better here. Knowledge of what I know this is a research, but then what would be, what should I say, the problem would be about, like here, translation from something like that. That would be helpful. Yeah.
Okay, so basically you're saying that if you had some preview, some trailer or something like that, it
Exactly.
would have helped you to what, to prepare that mainly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, yeah.
Okay. That thank you for the clarification.
Hmm.
Let's take. I know it's late there, but I don't want you to. I would like to take just 5 minutes to, I don't know, stand up and walk around and come back with before the next task. That's okay.
Yes, Fernando. Yes, sure.
Okay. Okay. Let's reconvene in 5 minutes. I'm gonna just pause the recording so that we
Okay.
don't lose the continuity of it, just to have one file with all the recording. So please stay on the call, maybe mute and such, but we'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay.
I'm there. I'm there. Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much, Hina.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's move to task number 2. In this task, you will translate the trie data structure from Java to Python with the help of an AI code translation system. The system is able to automatically translate code from Java to Python, but it's not a perfect system. So the translated code may contain errors in it. We use the system ahead of time to create 5 separate Python translations for you, which you will see when you open the editor. How you use these translations to help you complete the task is entirely up to you. So I'm going to share the link to the editor. So you will see it's opening.
Yes.
You have the Java source. The try.py is where you should leave your solution, and the other 5 files are the provided translations from the AI support. Okay.
Okay. So we have
Okay.
to see where the difference is and which is the best suited option. Is it like that?
You have to provide a translation. It's the same exercise, but you have the 5 translations to help you. As how they help you it's up to you. But you should leave in the try.py file the translated code for the Java. Right? Is
Okay.
that clear?
Yes. So if I understand correctly, the code is translated. What I need to understand is which one is the best translation out here, which one is the correct translation out here, right? And I actually have try.java translated in try.py using one of these 5 options and having a mix and match sort of a thing.
Well, yes and no. Okay, I'll explain again. So
Yeah.
we have given the AI the Java code, and the AI brought back 5 different translations. But the translate, like I said, it's not a perfect system. So the translations may contain errors in them,
Okay.
right? Uh, but you have those at your disposal. You can use them as you want. But the solution is you have to put a solution in the try.py file.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
I'll start here. Yes.
Awesome. Let's start then.
Sure. Okay, I'm trying to read the code. So the string in the hash map, try not. This is the object. That's right. Delete. Try not current. Okay, I will list entries. Try what runs. Treat it n character key. Stored trees 20% supplement stored string. A as a word. Set it true. This is the end of the string stored in the try. So that's actually include the target string. Definitely slow. Definite slow.
What were you trying to understand there?
I am trying to understand. So here, if I go to the class try, and if I read through, my first function is actually initializing these 2 variables out here. So using the AI translations, I was trying to see, here in the in itself, they are starting a dictionary here. So maybe out here. So yeah, trying to see how does this translation or sorry, this Java code translate to Py using one of these.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So Boolean as well. Hash map children. Then private root, and root is equal to new try note. Let's try. Subclass. Okay, and here we have a trial. This trial is trying to use language. So is what. Okay, now we'll start inserting into this here. Current history, current path, get children. Curative absence. Trying to say insert here. Current is equal to root if LNB word. Just word insert. What was insert used? So for entry entries, insert entry. This entry comes here. Root. Primary, okay, so this becomes my current. Current is equal to current of children. Set T for C for children. Set end of word tree. String is stored in the try node. So now since we've inserted, we will now try to find and confirm or search. Right, so find self word. So this is the word that was inserted. We try to find it. Ch in word, node equals to current dot children. Ch. No. Get children. For ch in the word. It's the current dot children. Node is none. Then false. Current is equal to yes, Okay, for seat environment, first of all, I used about this, or will it be like this? Basically, there's a tree of knowledge and character in a string has been stored in the trie. A stored string is represented by safety. C for C. C. String 2, 4, 0. The blank outcome to the caret index. Should delete current node. So to false. Turn the current general null. Okay. If it is equal, should delete current node, current general null. If you take out the last one, turn current general null.
What are you thinking now?
I have a doubt. I was just trying to clear that. Do we allow function overloading in Python? I think we don't. But I might. So my thought is that I shouldn't allow the two functions with the same name. So it should give an error, right? This is a Python ID. That's where the confusion came. So def deletes. Def enumerates and def enumerates self. What is this talking about? Public list enumerate add entries. Okay, enumerate. Okay. This is trying to do. Entry and entries. Entries. Public road enumerate. This is Silva. Current is open. Tree.pop. Extract. Keys writing on the extract. Try. Space outside. Keys. Get clearing keys. Clean keys.
What are you thinking right now?
I am thinking that how are we, so this is a looping, this is a recursive function. So how is this functioning and which will be the right Python code here out of the options that I have? So current is the nil. This, if it is the end of the word, then you append the entry dot pop here. Tree dot pop is coming from here. This is entries that comes here. So invert keys and merge another try into this one. So public word merge. So you have two tries, list of strings, other try to enumerate. So tree. Def merge, other try, trees, try to enumerate. Try dot enumerate. Entry entries. Cell dot entry. Turn other try. So let's put target try. So entries, self insert entry. Merge. Entries, insert entry. Hey, another try. Okay. See this one. So the only thing that I can currently do is see that there are no errors, right? I would not know if it's translated correctly or will I know? Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah.
Again the button just to because the first one might.
What is C?
I think that's just an artifact. If you just clear uh, with Control L, I think. No, that will kill. Just
Oh no.
if you right click, there's a clear button. I think.
Yes. Shall I do that?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Okay. Now I'll click on the button here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the problem. So I cannot run it. But I thought if any output be a print or some statement from any function. Okay.
This is the 5-minute warning.
Okay. Hmm. I think I'm done. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Just have a quick check, of course. Yes, I think I'm done. Yes, I'm good, Fernando.
Okay. Do you want to try to run something? Maybe.
I tried to. I don't get any output, so
You can add any code you want to that file too. Not just the translation. If you want to add some testing code, you can.
debug wouldn't be possible. I do see a debug here.
You could debug it if you want it.
Debug the current. I know I could actually put a main and then try to give it a list here or some entries.
Mm-hmm.
How many minutes do I have?
You have 2 minutes. And that's time.
Done. Okay, no worries.
Almost, almost. You can just close this
Yeah, sure.
the editor, if you want.
Yeah.
I'm going to share the link with the last survey. Well, it's not the last. We have one more.
Okay.
This one is about this particular task.
Chat.
Yep, I pasted it in the chat.
Yes.
Awesome.
P26.
Yes, P26. This is the AI condition, and it tries the data structure.
Questions are tough, you know.
The questions are similar. They're not exactly the same. Some of them are, but some of them are not. So
Okay, okay. How mentally demanding was the task? Well, it was, at least for me, because I was not sure of the try data structure. What I was trying to do was trying to understand the Python code from the AI scripts that were available, and was trying to see that which function from these scripts will be a good translation for the Java code. So it was maybe 15. Yeah. The only good thing was that I knew Python, so I was able to read through the AI scripts. I think that is where it was a little helpful. But because try structure was not, I was not known to try structure, it demanded a little more work. How hurried or rushed was the pace? I was not very hurried. I was okay, probably because of the scripts availability. How successful were you in accomplishing what you were asked to do? I feel I was successful because though I was not able to see any output, which I was trying to do at the end, but no errors on the script.
okay.
Yep.
Just a warning. The scale is perfect is 1. The failure is 20. So
Oh,
I'm just making sure that you were going for 14. I from your comment, I understand that you thought that the greater was the more successful, right?
exactly. Because you see very low here. Okay, okay. I now understand. The
Yes,
positive things are
yes,
on the
but
left.
yes, it's a bit confusing, but the names are there, and I just want to make sure that you saw those.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I actually didn't read these and
No worries.
the flow. Okay, so how successful I am again here, though I'm confused, but the translation part I think I was able to do successfully because at least there were no errors in the end. I would not know if my code, how does it work, but then at least the translation part from my side was done. How hard did you have to work to accomplish your level of performance? It was hard because I was not known to try data structures. I think that is where the problem came because in Python, actually, I was not at all sure of how to do it. So I put a 10 here because I was trying, I was able to at least understand the Java code, and based on that, I was able to understand the Python code, and um, that is where uh, Python script was accomplished. So yeah. How insecure, discouraged, irritated, stressed, or annoyed? I a little insecure maybe because I'm worried how my code will perform, and nervous, of course. So I'll keep it at 10 because this was the second task, so I was much better now.
I was hoping you wouldn't be nervous in the second one.
I but when I was trying to run at the end,
It's okay. It's okay. I'm just kidding. It just
yeah. Okay, please describe your overall approach. Again, here I started for initial 5 minutes were to read through the Java code. And next, not much time, but yeah, the next 5 minutes for the AI scripts. And then I actually started to, after that, it was all about translation. Okay, to what extent do you feel you understand how the Java implementation of the data structure works? Again, somewhat here. Maybe try was a little unknown. How would you characterize the quality of the provided translations? It was good. If my code works, then of course it was good. I'll put it at acceptable because I did see that since there were 5 scripts and a couple of them had different codes, and we had to understand which one could be the right thing. So if you know it, then of course you don't need translation, and you will need translation only if you are you have hiccups. So in that case, it was not big help, and if I can say that. Okay, so we have a Y here. How did the quality of the translation match your expectation of what could be produced by an AI system? I think otherwise it was good because the functions were there. There were no errors in the script. The flow was correct as per the Java code. The way the functions were used was also correct. So those sorts of issues were of course not there. So the quality of the scripts were good. So to be frank, Fernando, what I had in mind was that while I'll be writing the code, there'll be an AI system which will help me along.
Okay, yes, that's fair. That's fair, but
Yes.
it's like, I mean, you had some. It's a different way of interacting, but yes. Thank you for clarifying what you were expecting. I think it will be useful.
Yeah. Okay. To what extent did you feel the provided translations were useful? Well, they were a great deal. Had errors? Not at all. A little. Yeah. Few places I found. Helped you complete the task? Great deal. Helped you understand the original Java code? Not really. Taught you something new about Python? A great deal, for sure. Okay, did you feel that the provide translation made your work in this task difficult versus easy? No, I did feel it made my task easier because if I was able to correctly interpret the Python code in the different scripts, then of course it was very helpful for me because I could get it right there. Did you feel that the provided translation made your work slow versus fast? No, it made my work faster. Did you feel that provided translation made your work in this task of the worst or the best quality? I'll keep it at +1 maybe. Again, because I don't know what my code will give as output, so I keep it +1. What did you find most useful about the provided translation? Easy to refer and interpret. No errors to be resolved. No human efforts. No human errors, of course. And efforts to write the code in right syntax, and of course indentation, Python. I think I also found that all the functions were least useful. The correctness of the scripts, because we had 5 scripts and we were not sure. So it was again my job to find which was the correct script. So how should I put it? What did you find the least useful? Having 5 scripts and choosing and finding the right code. Okay, were enough translations provided for you? Yes, I think 5 words. I was worried with too many, I think, but then enough. What additional information could we have provided alongside translation to make them more useful to you? What additional information would you expect as part of the explanation of how the translation works later? For the following work conditions, to what extent would AI-supported code translation be helpful? Normal working conditions, very helpful. Extremely helpful when we are under time pressure, but then it has to be correct code, of course. It shouldn't be that it does the wrong thing. So when working alone, very helpful. When working on code that I only would use, it is helpful, of course. I think it's much better that if I have something is for me only and I take it, so there will be no customizations required. Okay, when working on a code that my team members or other people would use, it will be so AI code translation, yeah, if done correctly, of course, but then if we are expecting 5 to 10 AI translated scripts and then trying to understand, and if you're working in a big team and say 10 developers have 10 different scripts, so it will of course be a little difficult. Of course, we expect the developers to know what is right and what is wrong, but if they are depending on AI and they are not hardcore developers or understand deep Python coding, I talk of data structures, in such cases, it may create a little chaos unless and until we are, we know for sure that out of these 2 scripts, you can take it. When working in a small team, then it's of course helpful. As I said, when working in large teams, it will be moderately helpful. When working on an experimental or prototype code, it will be helpful. Okay, when working on production code, moderately, because we cannot very much rely as far as it goes today. But of course, as in how it improves and our trust on the developed code increases, it shifts to the left. So yeah. For which situations would AI-supported code translation be appropriate? When the code is used for a mission-critical application. Okay, here again, my only doubt is that how much trustworthy code do we have, and it has to go through proper reviews and understanding that there are no security breaches. User information is well protected, because all these things, if my AI supported code can have a check for that, then it'll be good. But yeah, of course, for mission critical applications and especially banking, healthcare, and all, reviews are certainly required. When the code's correctness is important, it will be correctness is everywhere required. So, okay, when the code's runtime performance is important, of course, if it is AI, yeah, it's AI. Okay, when there's a large code base to translate, again, it will be slightly appropriate, considering large code base may not be single code base. You may have a combination of Java, C++, and all. And if it's a legacy application, of course, the complexity increases. And in that case, if I'm given multiple scripts and find the rest, may not be that helpful. But if you're translating, so Fernando, one question. So what I'm trying to rate this on is my current experience, but are we talking about a proper functioning system? So of course it would be like,
What do you mean with a proper functioning system? Not, I mean, the one that we presented you with had some flaws, and
right.
the translations might not be perfect. So that might be the case. I think your comments are appropriate in terms of if, like, you're saying what preconditions you think that there should the AI code translation should have, right? So yes, and again, if you're making certain assumptions, it's good that you are saying what those are, and then answer using your best judgment, which is what you're doing right now.
Exactly. Yeah, because if I talk about 1 million lines of code and I have a AI automation translation in place, nothing better than that, right? But if I talk of the flaws and the security point of view, or then I may not go for very appropriate. Then I will go for slightly appropriate. That is why I asked the question.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So when the original code is written in a language which I am unfamiliar with, it will not be very helpful, because then I will not be able to understand what has been done here. So if my AI translation system can help me understand that also, that how that translation has been done, then it will be, of course, useful for a person who's unfamiliar with the code. Okay, when the code needs to be translated to a language, which I am the same. Okay, code needs to be translated to a language. Okay, even in that case, it will help me to translate, but the authenticity of the code, of course, needs to be verified and reviewed, which I will not be able to do. So it will help me to translate, but then if I hand it over to my manager to review it, I have to be very sure of what I'm giving. So, okay, how useful would each of these kinds of AI models be for real code translation work? A model that requires you to fix one problem per 1,000 lines of code. No, these are like 1 million. Lakh lines of code here. This will be useful because it will help me dig out or reach to the right point where my problem is. A model that requires you to fix one problem for 10,000 lines of code. It will be useful. I think so. I do feel so. Model that requires you to fix one problem per 10,000 lines. It will be moderately useful because 1,000 lines of code may not be many functions out there. A model that requires you to fix 100 lines of code. Again, moderately. 10 lines of code. Not very useful because I would rather find it. A model that requires you to fix one problem per one line of code. Okay, wait. I think I got it. So every line has a. Okay. So there. Oh, I thought I got it.
Yeah, that's basically how good the translations are, how good the AI model is, right? If you have to fix one problem per 100,000 lines of code, and that's the amount of errors that the AI model has, right? And so I'm just clarifying. So
yes,
I think you understood the question properly, but
initially I thought it was for debugging purpose, but as I moved ahead, I realized that we're talking about the AI model. Okay. Yes. So if I have fixed one problem per 10,000 lines of code, I think it'll be useful. But if every line I have to work, I mean, I will be ready to invest my time, but then it may not be very useful for me from project or the application point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What additional information could we have provided alongside the translation to make them more useful to you? What additional information would you expect as part of the explanation? Okay. So my model should understand. My model should understand where am I stuck? And based on that, if it can give some suggestions. So while I was working these translations that I had, I was confused, right? That which is the correct translation. So yeah, if I am doing a translation and if I'm stuck somewhere, I should get some suggestions. Or if I'm having two ideas for translation, or two functions or two ways in which I can translate, my system should be able to help me judge the correct one. I think help me avoid making errors or autocorrect my errors. And the errors that I talk about here are, and this is what I think also while I code, that if I've not done indentation correctly, or if I've missed a comma, or if I have put a variable name incorrectly, these are very obvious things that my code should anyways understand that I've done it by mistake, and it should be auto corrected rather than marking it for me and then go and correct it, even if it's a very small thing. And if I have an AI system, why not? Okay, and since we are focusing on translation, okay, also
It's oriented to, okay, we provided you with the 5 translations. And the question is, what else could we have provide alongside those? Like what information? Well, it's fine. I mean, I think that you're talking more about improvements to the model or something, but it's fine. It's fine. I don't want to bias your answer to anything.
Right. So these are mainly, so even in those 5 scripts that I was reading through, I was trying to understand. I was trying to Google it. If it is collections in Python. So maybe that information, rather than me going to Google, I could get it there itself. That this is why we are. So okay, in translations, we can get some info on why and how it's translated, or how was this translated. So I don't know. I'm not able to put it in correct words, maybe. But what I mean is that if it is talking about collections, so there you have the T element in Java. What is it translated to in Python? Maybe a link to the right documentation if I want to read more, because if I'm a developer and I'm using the AI model for translation, I ought to understand what it is being translated to. So, and I may not know everything. So such information, yeah, some Google links or documents, something. So I don't need to shift here and there to read what has been done.
Okay.
Okay. Can I move to next?
Yes.
Any other people would like to share with us about your experience at the start? Be a part of it. It's difficult to give feedback, someone is watching. Good distribution tasks. So yeah, my feedback still is the same that I know you cannot tell everything because it's a research from your side, but then a little knowledge of what it will contain of maybe trailer, as you said, would be the right word. A little knowledge
Okay.
of what would contain and yes, now participants. And yeah, thank you. Thanks for making me a part of it. I hope I have some value.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. And I can submit it?
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Wow. I'm done.
Okay,
Yeah.
one last. This is a very, very short one.
Yep.
It's the last survey.
Yeah. Oh, you have a link again?
Yes, I pasted
Yes.
a link in the chat.
Sure. Okay, so I think this is what I mentioned. Beyond code translation, AI system to autocorrect my errors. A system to extend. Suggest performance. Yep. Yes, Fernando. This is
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
okay. Oh, I thought this is done. Which gender identity do you most identify? Do you consider yourself primarily a software engineer? Have you used AI machine learning algorithms as part of your work? Not as part of my work, but I do work on these Watson chatbots and otherwise, small projects for self-learning. So that won't come now for as part of the work.
I guess it has to do if you have to interact with I don't know, AI or machine learning. But yes, you can definitely add that to the list.
Yes, yes. And otherwise, AI is like in almost all the applications now. Okay, please explain your use of AI or machine learning algorithms. Self-learning, Watson chatbot. In applications. Project. Trello. Primarily. I don't know if Trello is AI enabled or not, but then so I use Grammarly as part of Trello. So okay, and where else? again some lab projects on. This is fine. Okay, have you performed code translation tasks? No, I performed this. Okay, would you like to participate in future studies of AI support? If so, please provide with your email. Yes, sure, I would like to.
Okay, that's it. You've
So-
done it.
Yeah.
You reached the end.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
So, Hina, again, we cannot stress enough the thank you for participating in the study. We know that it's a huge time commitment. 2 hours is a long time, and even with the time difference, I know it's late where you are. So, even many more thanks for participating.
Thank you.
Just if you have 2 more minutes, I would like to tell you what we're working on specifically. We know that you must know that there have been a lot of developments on AI models for code. I don't know, translating code as we used in this study, or generate documentation for code, or maybe even you might have heard about GPT-3 and other models that you can tell them what do you want, and they give you in natural language, and they give you code back.
Yes.
So, but what there hasn't been a lot of work on is to evaluate whether these models are actually useful for software engineers. So we're interested in understanding whether AI produced code translations are actually helpful. And some of the questions that you answers, like, do they make it work easier, or do they make you work faster? And how good the translations have to be for you to actually embrace them and use them. So those are the kind of questions that we're trying to answer with our research. And we're also building some tools the reason we used VS Code in this study is because we are developing some tools that actually allow you to communicate with the code translator and send your code to it, and make it get a proper translation back from it. So that's why we're doing this study to understand how the AI can help actually the software engineers in their daily work.
It will be very helpful for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and as a software engineer myself, I am a software engineer too, and it's been great participating in this because I was able to see some things that maybe we struggle every day with, and that where these tools can actually be helpful. So
Correct.
Again, Hina, thank you very much for participating. We will be sending you 250 blue points. I think I'll talk to Justin later, which is my manager, for him to send you that. And that's it. It was really nice having you as a participant.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Fernando. For me too, it was like, I thought it was 2 hours, but then when I sat to actually work, the time just flied off. So.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Yep.
That's great to know that it was something. I wouldn't say pleasant, but it wasn't like a complete nightmare.
Yeah, I truly enjoyed it.
Okay,
now I
awesome.
know it's done. Yeah.
Thanks a lot again, and
Yes.
have a nice rest of the day, and good evening to you.
Thank you, and good day to you. Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye bye.